Yes, yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, people. Welcome to the channel. First things first, Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates Christmas. Um, Hopefully you're enjoying your time with your family. You're getting, good gifts. And in the spirit of gifting, the hope is that tomorrow Fulham give us the 3 points that we need. To keep trying to get to 40 points for the season. And just, trying to just kind of open the gap and keep the gap on these other teams but behind us. But there's a lot of games going on tomorrow. Yeah. Um, and it's very interesting because some of the games are going to be on Thursday, some are going to be on Friday. But we're going to take a look at, some of these fixtures. I'm going to give my score predictions for some of these. And then, we're going to go in depth into the Chelsea Fulham game where we definitely need 3 points. When we played against Everton, it was a hard fought draw. It was one of those games where we probably could have walked away with all three, but at the same time, they could have walked away with all three. You know, we missed a few chances. Yes, Jackson should have did a lot better, but you look at the weather, conditions, and it's just whenever you go to Everton, it's going to be it's going to be an uphill battle. It's going to be a very tough game. Um, so it is what it is. Another point game. I don't look at it as a point dropped or points dropped. I look at it as points gained, and then we just keep it moving. You know. But yeah, tomorrow. Why not? Let's start with the Chelsea Everton preview. We take on Chelsea Fulham preview, and I think tomorrow's game, Stamford Bridge, definitely should be it should be favorable to us. You look at our recent um results in other games, and this has probably been the first time in a couple of months since we have dropped points, um and then we haven't scored a goal as well. Like, this is what, the second time this season, because I think the first time was when we drew a blank against Man City. So you could just kind of look at the steady progression we've had throughout the season. And it's beautiful to see. You know what I mean? It's great to see Fulham come into this game. They're ninth as well. They have not been losing games either. They have one win and four draws in their last five. So it's not like they're just conceding goals left, right, center, and they're losing games. They're actually keeping it real tight. Played 2-2 against Liverpool. Um, yeah, Liverpool played 10 men for the majority of that game, but Fulham still walked through it with a point from Anfield. So I think this game is not going to be easy. But you know what? We have been we've had a better, when you look at our record against Fulham in recent times, like we've been able to beat them. If you look at the last six games, we've beat them 2-0. They won 2-1. We drew. We beat them 2-0. We beat them 2-0. We won 1-0. So we've against Fulham in the last couple of games, we've picked up more victories and a draw potentially than losses. So this should be another pretty straightforward game. The only problem is when you look at teams like Fulham this season, they have been very impressive and they've been very hard to beat. You look at your likes of your Fulham, your Bournemouths, your Brightons, your Forest. All these teams are just very hard to play against, and then they're very hard to beat. So I think it's going to be an interesting game. If you look at, just some match facts from this game, you can look at we've scored 14 goals in our last five games. In our last three, we've beaten Fulham in our last three games. So this should be one of those games where, that kind of trend just continues. And Cole Palmer, like, I understand against Everton, he was pretty non-existent in that game. It was a game where I felt he definitely should have been taken off. When you play against teams that play some super low blocks and your most influential player is really not having an impact, you could take him off. You could bring in a Felix. You could bring in an Nkunku in that position. For me personally, I would have probably brought in Felix because I think Felix gives you a little bit of that, extra bit of creativity and invention, in that role. in those central areas. Drop a shoulder, go past somebody, win a foul, be very slick with the ball, and try to make things happen when it's not happening. So I think in that game, that was one of the times where Maresca definitely left the way too late. You're bringing in Kunku to play against a heavy low block, well, with like a few minutes to go. It's really not going to do anything. So hopefully, in this game, he knows how to kind of maneuver that. He knows how to be very smart, with his team selection and then the changes he makes as well. When you look at Fulham, they've scored, 7 goals in their last five. They haven't lost in 5 matches. So this is going to be a very hard game. Like, Fulham have given Arsenal problems. They've given Liverpool problems. And they're going to continue to give teams problems. They beat Brighton 3-1 very comfortably. And they drew 1-1 with Spurs away from home. So they're coming in with some form. It's not like this is a very dead team. So let's just go ahead to our predicted starting 11. And I think it should be very similar to a lot of the starting 11s we've seen this season. Um, Give me 1 second. But it should still be an interesting game though. Um, Interesting. Okay, so let's go lineup builder, and we're gonna build our starting 11 really quick. I think most of the guys who played in the last game should be playing in this game. Um, it really shouldn't be. It shouldn't really be anything too difficult. Um, so I'll bring my starting lineup on the screen. We're gonna build as we go, and actually, give me 1 second. I had this built, but for some reason I cannot find it on my screen anymore. So I'm gonna have to rebuild this again. Um, just bear with me. Just bear with me a second. I have this up ready. Ugh. But yeah, since the season started, we've seen a steady progression in this team. We've lost players like Fafana. Tosin has come in. Tosin is showing that he can deputize in certain parts. Like, I know he had a very tough game against Liverpool when he came in for Fafana, but he's had more games than he's had more good games than bad games since he's been in the team. And that block against Everton to keep the score 0-0 was very, very it was impactful. It was really needed because you go one goal down against Everton away from home, you're not recovering from that game. You're definitely just not. You're losing that game. You're not getting any points at all. So Tosin has come in. I've been very impressed. And like I said, that was a game where I really thought that he was maybe going to go with Vega left back, Gusto right back. I think Gusto just gives us a better balance when he plays as a right back. I don't really like Gusto inverted into these, midfield areas. I just think his ability and his contributions are just not highlighted, and it's just he looks awful when he plays in those roles. So I wouldn't play Gusto left back anymore. But again, there's going to be times when Gusto just has to play that role because we don't have people available, and that's just unfortunate, scenario. But I have my predicted starting 11 on the screen. I'll pull it up in a second. Um, Pretty simple. Sanchez starts and go. Sanchez he's been doing his job in the last couple of days. He's been in the last couple of games. Sanchez has been solid. He's been on it. And he's keeping us in these games. He's keeping his clean sheets. Um, and he's doing his thing, so I really cannot be too upset. Um, I still think ultimately we do need to upgrade on that position. I want to see what Jorgensen can offer, but right now, Sanchez is winning his points. We're just gonna, just appreciate that and just kind of keep it rolling. Gusto comes into this game right back for me. Cucurella's back from his ban, and I've seen the argument that if Cucurella played that game against Everton, we potentially win that game, and that's an actual reality. But with the way Everton's set up, it's just they really give you no space to operate in that midfield. They keep it real tight. I believe that game was played just majority in Everton's half, and they just kept it really tight. So I think Cucurella definitely would have helped. I don't know if maybe he would have helped with the scoreline, but he's back in this game. And I expect him to start. So your back three is going to be Gusto, Tosin, Colwell, you know, in possession. Out of possession, it's going to be a back four. You're going to see Enzo potentially dropping next to Caicedo. Um, and the interesting thing about this position that Cucurella plays in is that there's times when you're gonna see Cucurella be the guy who's kind of in these spaces, and then Enzo plays these deeper roles. Which, again, it's not a bad thing. You want to have Enzo in, and mostly your first phase, getting the ball, building up play. But Maresca does have this like tweak that he does where Cucurella somehow starts playing as like an inside, forward and as a number 8, and you just see him doing a lot of work here. You see Cucurella, drift into the side a bit, especially if he's trying to win the ball back high up. You find Cucurella here, you find Cucurella there, you find Cucurella back here. It's just this guy, his intelligence and his engine and his ability to just cover ground is really it's phenomenal, and then it's just the technique and the it's just a smart play that he knows how to do. But I expect this to be somewhat like this. Cucurella inverted next to Caicedo. Even giving Caicedo more license to roam forward a bit because Caicedo has, quality in abundance to go attacking defensively and all of that. Neto, I think he gets another run in for me. We all saw Noni's cameo when he came in off the bench. I can't really blame Madueke for that cameo because it was very short. Um, and that's just unfortunate. Um, you know, funny thing is when I actually was building this lineup, I was probably gonna put Felix over here. So I was gonna do this. This is the predicted lineup I think is gonna go with. But if anything, I could see him going with Sancho on this side. Um, Probably goes Sancho on this side, and then he goes Felix on this side. So I could definitely see something like this happening. And if this does happen, then it just means you're gonna see what I believe will happen is you're gonna see this. You're gonna see. Hold up one second. So if this happens, this is what you're gonna see for the most part in this game. Um, Sancho, Felix, Palmer, and then you kind of just have this right here because whenever we've seen Felix come into the team, even though he plays technically as the winger, you see him very central. You see Cucurella being the guy who's holding that width on that side, and then you got Jaden also tearing the what do you call it, the wingers on the side. Now you look at the way Fulham attack, and a lot of their attacking threat is on the flanks with Robinson. Yeah, so you do need somebody to kind of be doing some of the defensive work as well. I know Sancho can do it, but I think Neto does it more to like a higher degree. Even Noni as well, tracking back and just making sure that we have some cover for Gusto, So this is why I believe he's gonna just, keep it this way. Um, Actually, let me just do this. I think he's just gonna keep it that way. I don't think Felix starts this game. I think he runs it with Sancho one more time and then Neto on the other flank. Um, but that's what I would have done. I definitely would have played Felix, moved Sancho to the right, and just kind of keep the balance that way. But I believe we're probably going to see, if anything, we're going to see Neto more instead of Sancho and Felix on that side. But this really is what that lineup will definitely be looking like. Um, but yeah, and this should be a Jackson should get an opportunity to get more goals as well. Sancho, look, I think he still had a good game against Everton, even though the end product wasn't really there as much. But I thought he really still took the game to Everton. Um, and Palmer was just the guy that for me didn't he just didn't get the ball enough. I thought Palmer was very isolated in that game. I thought Everton did a great job, kind of just having people on him, limiting his influence. And you could just tell like they worked on that. Everton made sure they knew if you get Palmer out of this game, you maybe don't stop everybody else's influence, but at least you limit that attack to, just a bare minimum. So Palmer being out of the game definitely was kind of tough. But this will be my starting lineup for tomorrow's game. I think this team is pretty balanced. If we have to really just take it back to a regular 4-2-3-1, and you do this, you put Cucurella back here. All right, cool. You get to do that, and this would just be what you do. But, you have more numbers in midfield. You kind of give Palmer, Neto, Sancho an opportunity to just be very dangerous, and then Jackson up front. And it really could look like this, but we all know how we play on and off the ball. So this will be the starting 11. My predicted score for this game, I think I'm going to go 3-1. I think we should have enough goals in us to win this game, and we need the 3 points at the end of the day. So let's not do that. If you look at predicted lineups for Fulham, I know this is what you see on FOTMob, but I don't really see this being the lineup. I don't see Noni starting on the left and Neto on the right. Just makes no sense. But Fulham, some of the players you got to really be careful for. Iwobi has definitely been someone who's been, he's been a revelation this season, and he's carrying a lot of like their creativity. Smith Rowe as well has come in, has contributed a bit. Jimenez, he's really picking up on some nice form, and he's still a handful. You saw that goal against Arsenal, clinical finishing. And then they have options to come in. Traore can come in and just be blitzing past people. I mean, I don't think the defense is necessarily the strongest, but Bassi will do his thing in the back. Robertson again, he's up and down 90 minutes. Like this guy does not get tired. He just keeps working full 90. So it's something we have to look at and be very careful about. But I think, look, tomorrow's game at home, after Christmas, these guys have had a little break with their families. Motivation should be back. Focus should be back. Go in, get the kill, keep it moving, But tomorrow, 7:30 a.m., you got Man City taking on Everton at home. And you'd like to think that this is probably the game where Man City start to turn things around. Um, but then you look at Everton on the other side. These guys, they're hard to beat, and then they're hard to kind of score goals against. 6, 7 clean sheets this season, bro. That's a lot, even for a team like Everton. This is a lot of clean sheets that they have been able to keep. So even though I know Everton are 15th right now, City is 7th, but who would have thought that Man City's form would be like this? In the last 12 games, Man City have like one win. This is very un-Man City like. This makes zero sense. You look at their recent. Just let me share my screen really quickly. This doesn't look like a Pep Guardiola side. This looks like it looks like a Pochettino side. It looks like what you call it, a Graham Porter side. Like, just look at that. Just look at all these L's, bro. 5 L's in a row. Drew to Feyenoord, lost to Liverpool, beat Forest, drew to Palace, and then, bro, it just kept going on. 3 losses on the bounce. you like to think maybe this is the game where now they're starting to go, they're going to pick up some form against Everton. You start to think against Everton at home, Man City are going to handle business. But it's easier said than done, and we've seen in this league, the Premier League is very unforgiving. Teams like Everton can come in, stink up the gaff, and walk away with a point. And I believe that's probably what Everton are going to be playing for tomorrow as well. They're going to go there, make themselves really hard to beat, try to catch City on the counter. And if you're Everton, this is probably the time to play Man City. This is the time where you want to be playing City because they are not in great form at all. No Rodri, and we've just seen how bad this Man City team is, and it looks like there's just no there's no spark of like um just brilliance from nobody. Savio has, when Savio first came into the league, there were a few people that said Savio automatically was the best winger in the league. And we thought, damn, that's a big compliment for someone who's just coming from, La Liga. And the guy has turned out to be not good. Let's just keep it a buck. Savio has been underwhelming. But see, the thing about Savio is not a lot of us were able to watch him in Spain. So even when he came in, we just wanted to see what he was going to offer. And if this is what he's going to offer, that guy's been awful. Good thing for him is they didn't sign him, for a lot of money. So he kind of goes under the radar. If Savio cost Man City 60 to 80 mil, I think the scrutiny and the criticism would have been a lot louder than it is now. But because he didn't cost as much money, everybody's kind of giving my man a pass. But you look at the injury list and it keeps piling up. Nunez is doubtful. John Stones probably not available. Diaz injured. Rodri, Oscar Bob, even Edison has an illness and is a doubt. So it's just you're looking at this team and you go, okay, what lineup could Pep realistically play? And this team should still be strong enough. If you go with the team Man City could potentially play against Everton, you look at Ortega and go, you're gonna have to play Akanji, you're gonna have to play Walker because again, these are the available defenders you got. I believe Ake is maybe still injured as well, not too sure, but Gavadio, Akanji, Kyle Walker would have to be your back three, however you want to play it. Midfield, you try to play Kovacic, you try to play Rico Lewis. That midfield combo is just getting sliced and spliced this season. Like it has no physicality in that midfield. It really has no defensive nous. Man City they're just getting exposed, man, and it's kind of weird to see. But you look at them going forward, and you think, what can Doku bring to the table? What can De Bruyne bring to the table? De Bruyne this season, let's face it, has been a bit, off of it as well. It could be old age catching up to him. He's not really been looking the same since the injuries as well. So it's just Man City are in for a really, really rough season. And, we keep looking at every game saying, every game saying, you know what, Man City are this is the game they turn it around. This is the game they turn it around. Maybe this really might be the game to turn it around. But with the way Everton kind of set themselves up, I can see this game more or less being a draw or a very slim, narrow win for Man City. You look at Foden, Savio, Holland. I mean, how many games do you see Holland this season like getting as many opportunities in the box? It's just not getting it. The service is not coming in. You put Holland in this Liverpool team right now, bro. They probably would have opened the gap on everybody to like 15, 16 points already. That's the difference between Liverpool and Man City right now. Man City are just looking awful. So for me, if I did a score prediction, if anything, I'd probably go for a 0-0 draw, to be honest, because I don't really see Everton coming out to really attack Man City because I think they're still going to give City the respect that they deserve. But I just don't see how Man City break down this Everton side. And from set pieces, you're going to be looking at your Tarkovskis and Braithwaites and Mangalas and Calvert Lewin. All these guys can be a threat from set pieces, and the Everton team is very physical as well. So um, I pray for Man City because this game could really be it could be disgusting. It could be tough on Man City. Next game, you look at Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, two teams that are having kind of opposite seasons. Bournemouth right now are fifth, Palace I think are 16th. So this is where you see the difference in the two teams. You look at their form in the last couple of games. Let's just say in the last five, Bournemouth had 4 wins and 1 draw, no losses. Palace, on the other hand, 2 losses, 2 wins, 1 draw. So Bournemouth at home for any team is a problem. And I think tomorrow they're really going to turn up. They're going to turn over Palace quite easily. I think them at home, you look at the options they got. You look at Kirkas on that flank. You look at Evan Nilsson. You look at Semenyo, and you look at Clivet, and it's just that team has like some decent quality to it. Um, for them to go to Old Trafford and beat up Man United 3-0, 2 seasons back to back. This season, they've taken points off Arsenal. Hell, they beat Arsenal, they beat Man City, didn't beat Liverpool, didn't beat Chelsea, but they've really embarrassed some teams over there. So I expect this game again to be pretty similar. You look at the defensive partnership of is a Hoyson and Zabani, bro. These two guys are on it. Like their defense is bro, they're fifth in the Premier League. That just tells you something about their defense and their attack as well. And they score goals as well, too. So you look at Tyler Adams in midfield, someone who Chelsea almost signed, walked away from. He's coming into this team. He's giving them some bite in midfield as well. He's giving them some quality in that midfield. And this Bournemouth team is just, bro, they're a problem. You got Kepa, who's also doing bits, taking points off the big teams as well. And hopefully next season they could just sign him permanently. I think it'll be a good move for him. Kind of like a new opportunity to restart his career. You look at Palace, I don't see them really getting much from this game. I think if you take out Sarr from this team, potentially maybe Mateta, bro, that's it. Their goals ain't coming from nobody else. Eze can't really do it all on his own. And Ketty has been a bit disappointed. If they were playing at home, yes, I probably would have given Palace somewhat of a fighting chance, but they just lost 5-1 to Arsenal at home. And that game for the most part did not look like a 5-1 game for them. Like it looked like Palace could have did a lot better than they actually did. So going away to Bournemouth, I don't really give them a chance. I think Bournemouth easily beat Palace. I'm gonna go 3-1 to Bournemouth. That's just how I feel about that game. I think Bournemouth take the win. Chelsea Fulham already gave my prediction to that. 10 a.m. I expect us to hopefully we win this game by 3-1. I'll take a 2-0 win. I'll take a 1-0 win. I'll take a win regardless of how it happens. So Newcastle, Aston Villa, big game, impressive. Just performances from both teams this season, more so from Villa. Villa is sixth, Palace, Villa is sixth, Newcastle at eighth. Similar records ish in their last five. Newcastle have 3 wins, 1 draw, and Villa have 4 wins, 1 loss. So it's off the rip. I'm just gonna say Newcastle take this game at St. James's Park. This game is going to be a problem. It's going to be a lot of quality on display though. So this game is going to be very fascinating. It's going to be really good to watch. I think I'm going to edge it to Newcastle only because when they play at home, they have that extra, that extra motivation. I don't know what it is. They just play better at home. I mean, they travel well away sometimes as well, but I think just at home, the crowd, it's just you see Bruno Guimaraes, Joe Linton in that midfield. Now they got Tonali adding goals to his game as well. Bro, it's just going to be a very, very, very difficult game. Isak is in the form of his life as usual. Gordon on the flanks going to cost you problems. Murphy's chipping in with goals. So this Newcastle team, they got some really good balance to it. They're very strong. And then you look at Villa, again, one of the most exciting teams in the Premier League, to be fair. When you look at Rodgers in midfield, Duran, who can score you the basic goals and the crazy goals as well. So you got that balance over there. You got Tillemans, who's always just pulling the strings in midfield. You got the industry in McGinn. He's always going to be running around, putting it himself about, winning tackles. Onana, very imposing, very strong center midfielder in that team. One of the best goalkeepers in the world, and Martinez. This guy makes some crazy saves as well. So you look at both teams, and this game is going to be very entertaining. I believe. I believe there's going to be, you know, a few goals in this game. I'm going to edge it to Newcastle to win it. Maybe I'm going to go 3-2 because I think both teams have goals in them. So I think Newcastle scored 3. I think Villa scored 2. I think Newcastle take the win. I wouldn't be surprised to see a draw in this game, but I'm just tempted to go with the home team because I just see, them getting that extra boost from the crowd, home advantage. So I'm going to go 3-2, Newcastle Villa. Forest playing Spurs at home. You look at where both teams are. Forest are 4th, Tottenham are 11th, and Tottenham this season have been very bipolar. That's the word. They play well against certain teams and then they lose to certain teams. So I wouldn't even be surprised if Tottenham actually won this game because they're games where they're not expected to win is the games that go and win. The ones where they're not expected is where they win. The ones they're expected is where they lose. So this game, I got to go with the home team again because I think the home team have a um, very strong team and they're 4th for a reason. So I'm just you look at their team. You look at Chris Wood, he's getting you goals for fun. Hudson Odoi can have a moment of brilliance. Gibbs White. You look at Elanga. I like Ola Aina a lot as a defender. I think he's one of the very strong right backs in this league. You look at Murillo, someone that I think in the future could definitely go to one of the big teams because defensively he really does have a good balance to them. You talk about Yates, you talk about the midfield options they got, and I think they have what it takes to beat Spurs. But also Tottenham, on the other hand, they still have no Van de Ven. They still got no Romero, Archie Gray, Dragusin. I think these guys were just exposed against Liverpool, and it was bound to happen. There's no way they would have kept Mohamed Salah, Luis Diaz, and all these other guys quiet. It's just game was too open. Maybe not as much this game, but I still think Forest are going to take the game to Spurs. If Tottenham have any chance of winning this game, I think Kulusevski would be very, very important. He's going to have to really play his socks off for this game. Madison, which kind of Madison would show up in this game? Is it the Madison that gets taken off 60 minutes into other games, or is it going to be the Madison that is scoring you 2 goals in the game and is winning you games? Solanke is getting in the goals as well, but I think they defensively is where they really, really need that coverage. Like Basuma, Sar, these guys are just getting exposed time and time and time again. I don't know if Bentacore's ban is over, but him coming into this team would definitely help them kind of just just kind of control that tide a bit, control that midfield. Fraser Forster, I mean, I think he's done more good than bad, believe it or not. I think there's been games where he's made some ridiculous saves to keep Spurs in it. And then, against United, he makes those 2 schoolboy errors. So it's just a balance right now between not conceding first, to Forest, but don't be surprised to see Spurs go win this game. And you know what? Just in the name of Spurs being very unpredictable, where you're looking at this game and you think they should lose it, I'm going to go with a Spurs win. I think Spurs probably win this game. Um, let's see. I'm trying to think. Let's go with a 2-1. I don't know if 2-1 will be anything too crazy. Like I think that would be too close of a game, if anything. And both teams like to score goals. So Fuck it. Let's go 2-1 Spurs. Yeah, I feel like I want to say Forest are gonna win it, but I think Spurs, on the spirit of them, the games are not supposed to win. They do win it. I'm just gonna edge it to Spurs. I think they win this game 2-1. If they don't, then bruh, conversations have to be had about Ange. I'm sorry, like, and you know what's so funny? Yeah, like last season, Tottenham, when they were like just blowing teams out the water, and they started the season off ridiculously, and everyone was like, "Yo, this is why Ange is the guy. This is why Ange should be at my club. This is why Ange should be here." And then after a while, you just realize this guy just has one style of play. It's the highlight for life. Um, it's just, bruh, it's my way or the highway, and it's just affecting this Tottenham team tremendously. Like, this is the opportunity where you got to drop your defensive line just a little bit, bro. You ain't got the pace and the recovery from Van der Ven and even sometimes Romero, bro. Just drop that line a bit. But I'm gonna go with Spurs 2-1 on this game, um, because most people are gonna expect them to lose, and I think they win this game. Southampton, West Ham, this should be a game where West Ham should win. It's just their forms. 14th, West Ham are 14th, Southampton are 20th. These two teams are just, more so West Ham. They've disappointed me a lot this season. I'm not gonna lie. I think they have um I think they have been one of the biggest disappointments for me, because once I looked at it, the transfer window in the summer, I thought, okay, this team could really, really push on. You don't have a team with Kudus, Paqueta, Bowen, Todibo, and you put out these. It's just weird. Somerville, like, bro, they have so many options, right? But it's just, for some reason, they just cannot get the balance right, and they might need to let this coach go, bring somebody else in that could even potentially kind of bring them a sense of like solidity. I just don't. This team is very weird to me. Like, the fact that they're 14th is crazy. They should be somewhere between 8th, 7th, ninth. That's why I would have thought West Ham would have been. But this game, not much to say about it. I expect West Ham to go over there. Southampton are going to always be the architects of their own downfall, trying to play out from the back. I think they're going to lose this game 3-1. If they win it, I would be very surprised. Next game, you got Wolves and Man United. Wolves have a new manager in. Man United have a new manager in. And I don't think the new manager bounce has really dawned on United yet. I don't think they've played any games recently where it's like, yeah, United are dominated. Um, since Amarin has been here, bro, they've taken more L's, if anything. So it's just, what do you do to kind of like to kind of cut this rock? Like, what do you do? Rashford hasn't been in the match squad. Garnacho was taken out. He was brought back in. And it's just, you're looking at your attack. It's like, bro, how do you even set up this team to win? Wolves, on the other hand, it's just trash. Like, this season has just been trash. They have a few players that can make a difference. You're talking Cunha. You're looking at someone like, Ain't Nori. A lot of these other big teams will be looking at someone like an Ain't Nori for that wing back position. Larson hasn't been too bad, but ultimately, I think they need to get more goals. Geddes has come in. It's everywhere. It's all over the place. United, on the other hand, I think, bro, they've been 13th for how long now? And when I look at the Premier League table, United are 13th. They have 22 points. You look at Fulham, who have 25. So it's really it's just a 3-point swing. Fulham lose, United win, bam, United shoot up the table. You know, Obviously, Brighton will have to also lose a game as well, for United to shoot up. Spurs will also have to lose, but my point is, like, it's really not that much of a big gap. United win 2, 3 games in a row, bro. They're already back to, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8. So they have a great opportunity um, to kind of shoot up the table. If I look at so if I was a United fan, I'm looking at the team that I would want to see against Wolves. Um, I don't think, so there's been this has been an interesting theory because I've heard people say Kobe Mainu cannot play in the pivot, which I agree. I don't think he has the defensive awareness to play that role. Kobe's not quick enough to play as a winger either. So that's already two places you got to take him out. Now, is he good enough to play the number 10? I don't think so either. Like when you look for number 10s in your team and you want to see people who can create, people who can problem solve in that position and add more goals and assists to their game. Kobe's not someone who's going to get you hella goals. He's not going to get you a lot of assists. I don't think he has that killer final pass in him. I don't think he can just make a lot of things happen. So someone like Kobe should be on the bench. Like honestly, I think if you look at Kobe and Bruno, like I know Bruno is eventually United have to move away from Bruno Fernandez. But you look at the options they got now. Who really could play in that role? Because I don't think Kobe is a number 8. He's a number 10. So don't play him in that inverted 10 role. At least Fernandez, even though he plays that rocket launch in football, like this guy gets them goals and assists. Like if I see Fernandez in that position playing against my team, I'll be a bit more nervous because I know as chaotic as his football is, he can create something out of nothing for me. And that's the only thing that I think kind of keeps him in that role. I don't want to see, Anthony in that role. Like it doesn't work. Play Fernandez in that role, play Ahmad in that role, you play Hoyland. But that midfield, you got to bring Casemiro back in. Because Manu, bro, he's just getting ran past so many times. It's just United are gonna have to do what we did, and bro, this team is gonna have to go. Like, clear it out, clean house. You know how they used to say to Chelsea, yard sales, bro. United are gonna have to do a yard sale. Yeah, buy one, get one half off type shit. Like, that's just how it's gonna be because this team is just not good enough. Amarin cannot play football with this team. I am so sorry. Like, there's no reason your defenders should be Evans and Maguire in big 2025, which is coming up in a couple of days. There's no way, bro. Like, it's not good enough. You know, Lenny Yoro, I fuck with. I think he's good enough. He's gonna get to that point. But I look at this United team and I go, which player would I take from here realistically? You give me Diallo, you know, maybe Mazarawi to play one of the right center back roles for my team. Bro, and that's about it. Like that's really about it. And that's not even throwing no shade. See, Hoyland is a very interesting one for me because I think Hoyland, if nurtured the right way, and also it comes down to him as well. He has to change the way he plays. Like I understand he's a physical player, but this guy spends too much time wrestling with defenders. Like you got to be able to use your body smart enough, and then you just make runs in behind the defenders. Like the guy has a decent finish on him. Like you've seen him score certain type of goals, and you're like, bro, that's a good goal. So he can finish. It's just he's not consistent enough. So, bro, bring Casemiro into this game. Play Hoyland. Play Ahmad Mazurawi. It's just I don't even know who they could play. But you got to bring Euro into this team. And if United go on tomorrow and lose to what you call it, Wolves, and bro, just right off the season, just play academy guys till the end of the season, bro. Because it just no, it's no point. If you lose to Wolves, bro, there's no point. Final game tomorrow, Liverpool Leicester at Anfield, bro. This game has the potential to be a 6-0 scoreline. And that is not even no joke. That's not even trying to be like talking down on Leicester. This game is going to be crazy. This is the kind of game that Liverpool should probably play Darwin Nunes. I think he'll probably get a goal in this game. Leicester really ain't like the hardest team to beat. You're playing at home, bro. Play Nunes tomorrow. Let him kind of get his confidence back a bit. Or if not, like just keep doing what you do. You want to play Diaz through the front, through the middle. You want to play Jota. Liverpool have options, so I'm not even going to tell them what to do. They have options to be able to win this game. It should look. There's not much to say about this game. Should be 6-0 Liverpool. Honestly, the United game. My score prediction for that game is going to be, I think United just edge it 2-1, but I wouldn't be surprised if Wolves beat United. And then on Friday, you got two games: Brighton, Brentford, Arsenal, Ipswich. Brighton at home, good team, one of the best teams in the Premier League this season. They've been doing their thing, to be honest, but they're 10th, which is weird because when you see how Brighton have been in recent weeks, their results doesn't really speak to the football. Like Brighton, it feels like they play much better than the results are saying, and their position is showing, and that's just what the eye test gives you. Like you see so many good things with Brighton, but then when you look at the stats, you're like, damn, you guys really you've been falling off. Like they haven't won in their last five. It's three draws, three losses. And then you look at Brentford as well. It's one win and five. So Brentford don't travel well either. That's the bad thing for them. They do not travel well. And you're looking at Brighton. I think Brighton just nicked this. I think I'm gonna go three. No, no, no. I've just been throwing the threes around. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go two. I'm gonna go 2-0 Brighton. 2-0 Brighton. Um, Welbeck, Mitoma, Joao Pedro. I think they win this game 2-0. And then the final game, Arsenal Ipswich. Again, I expect this game to be a win for Arsenal. No Bukayo Saka. Rumors are he's going to be out for 12 weeks, and that's just going to be a big blow for Arsenal. I think that's going to be a very, very big blow. He's their most influential attacker. He's the guy who creates something out of nothing for them. So him not being available, Sterling not being available as well. Martinelli, when he switched over to the right side against Palace, someone put it out perfectly. He didn't have enough time to think, which is sometimes good for certain players. You just give them the one choice. Like, some people, if you give them multiple choices, that's where they really fuck up. You give them one choice and they just execute that one plan, and then everything is cool. Martinelli's like that kind of player. I think his ability is limited. So just put him on the right flank. Just let him kind of just be like a touchline winger. And I think he will give you more. He'll give you better output, if anything. But I still expect Arsenal to win this game pretty comfortably. Score prediction 3-0. Yeah. Score prediction 3-0 Arsenal. Just win this game and call it a day. But yeah. So that's really been, your Chelsea Fulham preview, and then we've also looked at some of the scores from this upcoming week, and we look forward to the weekend. Friday probably gonna have a match preview coming out. We got some games coming on Sunday, and then you got some games coming on Monday as well. So we're gonna look forward to those. And yeah, there's gonna be games every 2-3 days for like the next couple of weeks. So it's gonna be a very busy period. But it's all exciting, for us fans. We're this is what it's about. No international break for a minute, so we're good. We're gonna be enjoying it. But guys, this has been the end of your Boxing Day previews, your Chelsea Fulham preview as well, your score predictions, who is going to make the difference, who's not. If this is your first time coming across the channel, sub to the channel, like the video, hop in the comments, interact with the content, man. Let me know how you feel about your score predictions. What, like, if you're a United fan, like, I want you to tell me this. What do you think Amarin has to do to move you from 13th to like mid-table? Because right now you're not even mid-table, and that's a bit concerning. Like, I know when he came in, the hype, and I know you guys said Amarin is here to do his thing, but it's just not looking good. So I definitely want to hear from you. I want to hear from Arsenal fans as well. What do you think Saka's injury means for your title charge, in the next couple of months. Chelsea fans, how you feeling about, road to 40 points and being the chill guys? Yeah, let me know how you feel, man, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.